I'd like to share a dream with you about a creature that is very stealthy, very insidious, evil, and has far-reaching effects in our personal lives and in our ministries, even in our walk with the Lord, especially in our walk with the Lord, and especially given the amount of time we have left to reform our lives. This is a dream that I had 35 years ago, and it was a warning dream that the Lord gave me when I had become a Christian. Just to give you a little bit of background, my mother was a makeup artist and my father was a very well-known designer in Chicago. And I was a professional nature photographer, and I did annual reports and things like that, and just a lover of beauty. Just loved beauty. I loved all the things that are in nature that God created, and I wasn't a Christian, but I would seek out beauty, and that was a joyful career for me. I really enjoyed it. So that's a little background on me as I come into this dream. One night I had a dream that I was swimming in a lake. In Wisconsin we had a summer home, and I was swimming in the lake. The water was warm and wonderful and inviting, and all of a sudden this black panther emerged out of the water and viciously grabbed hold of me and pushed me under the water in an attempt to drown me. This creature was immensely powerful. I mean, I was out of my league. But I fought it with all that I had. I pushed myself back up and I pushed it down. And I forced it down under the water. And I could only hold it down for a short amount of time. And then it got control of me again and pushed me down and held me down. And I thought I was going to die because I couldn't fight free from this black panther. Well, I came back up out of the water finally, and I pushed it down. And this went on for a long time in my dream. I tend to have long dreams. And I know that because I wake up and look at the clock and go back to sleep, and the dream picks up where it left off. But this went on for a very long time. Finally, I had pushed this creature down, and I was completely exhausted, and I couldn't see it anywhere. But this had happened so many times before that there was no guarantee that this creature was dead. And I woke up from this dream in that state. I had pushed it underwater, but I didn't know if it was really dead. It was years before I understood the true meaning of that dream. As I struggled as a Christian, I was very much into clothing and looking nice and dressing my family nicely and hair and makeup and all of that. You know, I came into becoming a Christian from a more earthy, natural background. But because of the way that people dressed in the church, I thought, well, since I'm going to be a Christian, I guess I'll dress like them too. And so I really did it. I really went out of my way to fit in as far as fashion and design goes, both with my clothing, my house, my children, my husband, everything. Well, it soon became obvious that I was spending a lot of time on that and was taking a lot of my attention, not to mention resources. It was taking attention from my prayer life, from my relationship with the Lord, from my children, from my husband. There was this driving force in me to have beautiful things and to be well-dressed. And finally, I made a break from this thing, from this desire nature of mine that was so strong. I finally, through God's grace, made a tremendous break, a tremendous victory over this. I totally left the world behind. I left everything behind and took on a very simple, pure life, which brought me so much closer to the Lord, so much closer to my children. It was just beautiful. And then the Lord called me back into the world to do a few other things. And because we had lived in the mountains in a cabin and very remote, and always lived out in the country somewhere in the forest. But the Lord called me back into the world, so to speak, but with a new freedom, a freedom of not being in bondage to all of these things like how you look, how you dress, and so on. But it started to seep in again. And this is when I realized the Black Panther was this lust for things, for beautiful things. And this creature I thought I had killed came up again. And I had to deal with it again and kill it again and again and again. And it would surface in little ways. I became fascinated working with semi-precious gemstones in bracelets. I became fascinated with spinning wool and weaving. Now, here's the diabolical nature of this drive. Let's say I get everything under control as far as beauty and nice things go. Well, then I'd get some kind of an urge to start cooking and to make better meals, to make almost gourmet meals, I guess you could say, which is totally out of line for me. And then the Lord would instruct me, and I'd get a hold of myself, and I'd say, oh boy, that's another sidetrack. And then I'd get into physical fitness, and that would take me over. And I guess what it really is, or what it boils down to, is just a lust for the things of the world, things that are worldly. And it doesn't even matter what form these things take, as long as they take you away from Jesus, as long as they take you away from the really important things in your life, your husband, your family, a ministry that the Lord may have for you to do. And guys, you aren't exempt either. It could be hunting and fishing, working on cars, working in your shop, taking up art or bodybuilding. It could be anything, as long as it takes you away from the things that are important, as long as it dominates your schedule and takes you away from the Lord. All of us are prone to these addictions. That's the Black Panther. And for many of us, the only way to conquer this strong force in our life is the grace of God and recognizing it for what it is. All that Satan is concerned about is that you're taken off track and you don't fulfill your destiny. So he'll find a million different ways to appeal to your fleshly nature and get you so deeply involved in these things that they obscure anything having to do with the Lord. Or at least they minimize the Lord and put him in a little box of spare time instead of him being the central core of your life and your existence. The devils know that a good person can't be drawn off into doing bad things that easily, but they can surely be drawn off into doing things that look good and seem beneficial, but are still off course. And that could even apply to church ministry. If the Lord didn't ordain it and he didn't call you to it, Satan is using it to pull you off track and to keep you from your true destiny. Little did I know that the Lord had called me to be a minister and a musician, and had given me a prophetic gift. I didn't have time for that because I was so taken up with other things. But as I matured, he revealed to me in my late 50s even that I was to sing, to compose, and to write music, and to play the piano, and to minister to the body. That my heart and my joy was in helping other people and being a minister in the body. And I had to put all these other loves to death and let go of them, never to pick them up again. But the beautiful gift that he gave me, I can't even begin to tell you what a wonder and a joy it is to be given music from heaven and being able to execute it. And so much prayer has gone into that because I wasn't skilled in that at all. These were totally new gifts that brought so much satisfaction and deep fulfillment and into the true meaning of my life and the true calling of my life. But they were blocked before by a lust for superficial things. Even after all the experience I had had renouncing these things, getting free from them, they still came back up in my life. I still had a very strong attraction to them. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I see this very much as indicative of the church and the ways that she emulates the world in clothing, in building projects, in decor. There's so much competition. Just when you walk in the door of church, everyone is all dressed up. Their hair is done, their makeup's perfect, their children are perfect, and it's like they're little plastic cutout Barbies walking into church. And a lot of time goes into perfecting that look. A lot of time and a lot of effort. And houses that are just to the nines with beautiful drapes and furnishings and stained glass windows and skylights and you name it. Name art on the walls. And on and on and on and on. And this is seen as an accomplishment and as something to be applauded in the Christian body. Now, compare that to the early days of the church, when people were being martyred and their houses and everything they owned was being confiscated because they loved the Lord. They were willing to give those things up. They weren't important to them because their relationship with the Lord was everything. And I believe that one of the reasons the Lord is allowing in this country the deterioration of the financial system and eventually the mark of the beast, it's going to be a matter of either you have the mark and you subscribe to the religious system, or you don't have the mark and you can't have anything. You can't buy, sell, or own anything. That's really going to separate the ones who love the Lord from the ones who love the world. So I believe we should start now, detaching ourselves from the world, because it's coming. And not only that, I don't believe we're going to be raptured if we're into the world system on that level. So these things are going to be happening to get us back to the Lord and what the Lord is all about, and where our joy really comes from. And the reason I wanted to share this dream with you too is that I wanted to say this whole Black Panther thing, this Black Panther is powerful. It's sleek, intelligent, stealthy, and anything but stupid. These demons that cause us to buy into the world and to lust after the things of the world and the status that the world has to offer, they are stealthy and clever, and they know how to wrestle us down under the water so that we're smothered. Our spiritual life is smothered by our involvement in the world. And people go unsaved. Ministries go unbirthed because the person has gotten involved in worldly things, in beautiful things. Now, I have nothing against beauty, and I know that in heaven, everything is going to be very beautiful. But if God has called us to be holy and pure, not of the world, but in the world, and to be an example, the last thing in the world we want to do is to be in the grips of this Black Panther of lust and social status and pride, the pride of life. So I just wanted to share that with you and say that this is a powerful, powerful force, and it can really destroy everything that God has put inside of you, everything that God has called you to do. It's taken me basically 30 years to be totally free of this, and I'm not going to claim right now that I'm totally free of it, because I could walk out the door tomorrow and get hit with it again and fall under it. But thank the Lord, His grace, I believe, has distanced this from me to the point where I know better. And I don't have a desire for these things. Every once in a while something will come up, and I'll have to pray and ask the Lord, please, Lord, give me the grace. I don't want that. I want what you want from my life. I don't want that. And he will give me the grace, and he will deliver me from it. So I guess I'm asking you in a way, sharing this with you, I'm asking you, please examine your life. Are you wasting your time on empty things, on beauty that can never satisfy, feathering your nest and impressing people? I mean, there's nothing wrong with being simple and looking nice. But when you make an occupation or an avocation out of it and a lifestyle of it, it eats you alive. It eats your time alive. And what beautiful gifts for the kingdom of God has the Lord placed inside of you that are not coming to fruition because your life is tied in knots around all of this. Well, there's one other thing I want to say on this note, and that is that our lives have been very unusual. The Lord has made a straight way with crooked lines. The way that he goes about doing things is pretty unique. And at some point in time, I'd like to share with you some of the methods of discernment that we use to determine if something is really the Lord or if it's a distraction. And I know most of you, if not all, have your own special ways of discerning. But you know, it can get pretty tough sometimes because people around you can discourage you and throw you off course. And we have to be connected to the Lord in intimacy and to be connected to the Holy Spirit and have wisdom in choosing the path of life that the Lord has laid out for us. Otherwise, we can really end up going in the wrong direction. So at some point in time, I'd like to share with you the techniques the Lord has used to help us stay on the straight path that he's ordained for us. And pray for me too, because it's not easy to stay free of these things. The temptations are many, every single day. So may the Lord be with you and shine his light on your path and protect you all your days. God bless you.